If you're a B2B business owner and you're looking to grow your business, then this is for you. You might be wondering, how do you pick between all the different marketing strategies and tactics on the market today? And believe it or not, there's no size fits all answer. I'm going to show you how do you answer this for yourself based on where your business is today, your current skill levels, and your available time and cash flow. So let's get into it. Hey, my name is Jean-Michel Moreau. I've done $250 million product launches and worked at unicorn startups. Let me show you how you make this decision. All right, so to get us started, let's talk about this fundamental trade-off, and we're going to break it down for B2B businesses and marketing. So when you're doing marketing, there is a continuum between these two extremes. And what we could say is at the very top, up here, we're going to call this like super automate auto. And at the very bottom, we're going to call this manual. So these are the two different kind of extremes that we could talk about. And there's really one major point that you need to get is that down here at the bottom of the continuum, conversion rate is the highest. So the conversion rate is the absolute highest, and the volume is the lowest. All right. And up here at the top, the conversion rate is the lowest, and the volume is the highest. All right. This should not be news to you. This should not be used to you. News. I just want to break this down how it applies in B2B. At the beginning, most B2B folks, they start with warm outreach, let's just call it warm network sales, right? Warm net sales. So what does that mean? That might mean that you talk to everyone you ever met in your life when you launched the business, right? And you say, look, I'm big change in my life. Here we go. We're doing business. Do you know anyone that could potentially use my help or that would want to talk about this? You might go to networking events. So after you could just say networking, right? This is all great stuff. So networking, a lot of people that are doing like fractional leadership, fractional CFOs, they might do, if I can just do 10 conversations a week, I can grow my business. If I can go to golf, have dinners, right? This has very high conversions. Why? Because it's very personal. And also a lot of B2B services, especially high end, you want to trust the person, right? You're not just going to add to cart online for something like a CFO or a chief marketing officer, like what I do. You are not going to do that unless you get to know the person and start to feel trust, right? And then okay, so you get the idea, right? This is down here at the very manual. At the very automated level, I'm just going to write e-com for e-commerce, but it's sort of like e-commerce. You can imagine, you just go to a website and you say, yeah, I want 3 of those. And then below that, we might have like webinars, live webinars. Somewhere in the middle, we could say like live events. They're sort of like webinars, live events. And we've got, and so forth. And the point I want to make is not about any one specific strategy. It's that the more like one-on-one time that you get with people, the easier it is, as long as they're the right people and you have a serious, solid business, the easier it is for you to make a relationship, build on that relationship, and get your foot in the door, make an offer, and start working with that person and helping them, and as a business, right? So this is obviously this isn't rocket science, right? This should be pretty straightforward. But what I think people get excited about growing their business and they jump right to the top. They're like, yeah, can I run ads? Where does that go? I guess it depends how you get traffic, but let's just mix all the things together. Ads down here. Okay, so you get the point. The more like personal and one-on-one, the higher the conversion rate and the lower the volume. And so here's what happens. Here's what happens to most folks. As they grow, they kind of max out. You only have so much time in the day. If you're doing this, it's a great way to get started because it's easy on the cash flow. This is easy on the cash flow. It's a great way to start. It maxes out. You're going to run out of time in your calendar. You can only golf so much. Or let's say you don't golf. That's just an example, right? You can only go to so many dinners. You can only, go to so many events to try to, even live events. If you're hosting them or attending them, these require a lot of time. So these require time. So let's just say require time. and you run out of time. And basically, you can map this out with an Excel sheet, but you also get a sense for it. You'll see like, I keep customers on average of 6 months and I get a customer, every 5 months. You start to see like, pretty soon the business size caps out and you need something more time efficient. And what I recommend to people is not to go to the top of the mountain in terms of automated everything, the dream of like, we'll just click a button and customers come in and I don't have to do anything. That can happen, but you have to work your way there. It's very risky to try to go immediately there. You want to work your way up. And here, I'm just going to try to explain why automation has lower conversions. And I'm going to do it from just sort of process thinking. Let's say that this could be generic. Okay, this could be generic. I just want to make a kind of a simple, let's make this your automated marketing thing up here in blue, boom, and let's make it a little bit smaller. Does that look like process steps? Yep. Okay, so this is going to be your marketing process over here. And just to make this clear, this is going to be the manual process down here. Okay, and let's just, because I'm super anal, they've got to look nice. Okay, same here. Got to look nice. Okay, so this is the process, right? And here's what I'm trying to get across to you, and then we're going to talk about how to exactly how to choose a method. But I'm really zoomed out. Doesn't matter. Okay, so you got this process, 1, 2, 3 steps here, and then let's just say upstairs, up here, we've got our automatic process, right? And it's going to be like this, and 5, boom. Just make the arrows. Okay, so we've got our manual process down here. Let's just call this like manual process, and this is our auto. Whoops, go back to blue. Okay, this could be auto process. And here's why. These are always higher conversion rates. The more steps you have in any process, the less reliable it is. You lose something at every step. So let's say you go to networking. Okay, let's say you go to networking. So whatever, you have to connect with people. So let's say your first step is, and I'm just going to use single letters here to make it simple. Let's say you connect with people. You try and like make friends somehow, or you meet them on a forum, or they're part of a network, and you try to connect with them. And then you try to schedule a meeting, and then you try to meet them. So you got connect, schedule, meet. So you got 3 steps. But for all your efforts of connecting, obviously, some of them don't work. Let's say when you try and connect with people in your network, only 70% of the people like really connect with you. When you try to schedule meetings, like only like 50% of people want to schedule meetings with you. And then when you try and meet with people, okay, let's say because it's like this kinds of high personal meetings, 50%. So you could see how at each step, there's losses, right? So, but then let's look at the automatic process. Let's Let's say that you are running ads, and then you have like a page here, and then you have like a video, and then you have like a form that they have to fill out if they're interested and say like request a quote. And then you have to schedule a meeting and all the other steps. And you can see that there's just more steps here, but they're way worse. Only like 2% of people click on ads. Your landing page might have a 10% conversion rate. Your video might have a 10% completion rate. Your form fill you see, this just has lower conversions because you lose people at every step. And it's less like sales. The best thing you could do is just show up to someone's house with roses. That's the best, assuming you have permission. But okay, so you get the idea, right? So this is just how this is life. So that's why when you are looking at adding a marketing channel, if you have a lot of time, you could do more of this. You can always do more. But once you run out of time, you need to add something scalable. And that is why, oops, I meant to delete these things. That's why I particularly like certain strategies at the next stage. Not for everyone, but when you realize, okay, I need to start adding some digital marketing. I need to do something to get in front of people, but I want something that has a really high conversion rate. I don't want to, it's so much work. It's not like you can't do the work. All of it's possible. It's just, it might not be the right next step. So if you're like you're kind of here and you're saying like, I need more, this requires money. And this requires time. So I want to start moving this way. Is there a baby step? Is there a step in between where it's way more time efficient, but it's not a ton of money? And yes, there is. And that is why I love doing pipeline podcast. So in a pipeline podcast, instead of just trying to become famous or trying to get views and those kinds of things, you interview potential prospects. And then here's the amazing part. You don't trick them into having a sales call. You build a relationship. You build a network. You find referrals. You meet their friends. You meet their connections. And you do what you already learned how to do down here at scale. Because how many events can you go to in one day? Like 1, 2 if you are a crazy person, but you can't do that very many weeks, right? Whereas a podcast, you could book 2 hours out of your week and talk to 4 more people. Or if you're somebody who's doing this system of 10 conversations, add another 10 conversations through your podcast, you'll double your lead flow, which would probably double your business if your sales skills are good. So what I like to do is launch a podcast and make it about the prospect, about the ICP. And make a show highlighting them, learning about them, asking them questions, learning about how they see the world. It'll help your marketing, but also you're going to build these relationships. And then you can do what you already know how to do and build sales off of that. And what we do is we install outreach. We use outreach systems, which I don't have a map for this, but outreach systems are cheaper than ads to get the guests who are your ideal prospects. And then you can do this thing that you already know how to do. So that is why I love this. Now, not everyone should do this, right? This will also have a cap. It's somewhere here. I would say my podcast method here, the pipeline podcast, is here. So I'm going to put it in the list, pipeline podcast. And I'm not going to tell you that this is the best thing all the time for everyone. It's really good right here. You will, like everything, you can max it out. At some point, you're going to say, I don't want to have more podcasts. Now I have so much cash from this. I'd rather do something even more time efficient, but yet more cash flow intensive. And then you can move on to ads. But it is a really great thing to do that is much lower risk and much higher leverage because we are also moving up in leverage. Leverage is going up here towards automation. That's it. That's it. So if you want to learn about how this works, we do a workshop and I will show you absolutely everything, like how to do it, how to implement it, everything about the pros and cons of different ways to do it, and even a live Q&A. Join me at the workshop. If you say to yourself, like, man, I just want to I want to install this in my business, my agency can do that for you. Or if you're a little bit earlier stage, we actually run a 5-day sprint where we show you how to install it yourself. And you can do that in a week. It's a 5-day sprint. It's actually free with a trial of our community, the Podcast Authority Insiders. So just click the description below to check that out. And I'd love to see you there. Cheers.